Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Casey. We get together and talk about current market conditions and market strategies. Today, we're going to talk about the most important thing, and that is, when I go out and I listen to people talking to realtors and what you need to do, and it's all about how you get more clients, how you make the phone ring, all that is wrong. The most important thing about being a realtor is being able to list a house, sell the house in the proper amount of time, get the maximum amount of money for that house, and keep the seller in the less stressed position you could possibly do. If you can pull that off, then you'll get as much business as anybody can ever give you. So today I want to talk about the protocols, right? That make that happen, that make great listing agents, that make great listing teams. Because if you don't do the protocols, if you don't follow these protocols that I'm about to talk about, you shouldn't even be in the business. You shouldn't be listing houses, because when a house sells, it's going to sell somewhere between, and there's always a range, like 20%. It's always going to sell somewhere between 107% of assessment and 127% of assessment. And that'll work up and down, but the range is usually 20%. The difference between getting the 107 and the 127 is what makes realtors great. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We only have 2 rules on Casey Samson Team. First rule, never break protocol. If we got a protocol in place that I'm going to talk about right now, you don't break that protocol, you stay with it, and that's what gets us the best return. Rule number 2, do not forget rule number 1. Pretty simple. We only have 2 rules. So I'm going to go over the protocols with you today. So if you're selling a house, you want the 127% of assessment, not the 107. And I could tell you the difference between doing it right and wrong are this much. So you must make sure that you're dealing with a professional listing team that has protocols like this in place that make sure that you get the top dollar for your money, okay? So let's go ahead and start off. Let's talk about these protocols are designed to make sure that we get the highest possible dollar amount in the shortest period of time, which creates the least amount of stress on a seller. For the past year and a half or 2 years, really the only people that have been selling have been people that are in divorce, death, or downsizing, right? So it's been a very difficult, stressful time for these people. And, we can't add on that by doing a bad job in listing their house, right? Now, today, inventory is going back up again, and it's not the death, divorce, and disaster, which is still there. Now, the victory tour people that are 60-something, kids are gone, they're married off, they're out of college, they're sitting empty nesters. Now they're going to sell their house, and they're going to get the heck out of here and go have some fun. That's what I call the victory tour. So when you see the bonus right now of sellers coming on the market, that's kind of the victory tour group, right? And they're bigger houses, don't need them anymore. Let's go out and have some fun. And they are. So let's get on to the next one. So the protocols that we have, okay? And for those of you on a podcast that aren't seeing this, I brought up the track record for the first half of this year for our team. In order for somebody to trust you, they have to know that you've already done this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it's been a success. So what I'm showing on the screen right now is the first half of the listings we took this year. There's $70 million worth of listings on the page, all either closed or pending on their way to settlement. The average days on market for the $70 million that's on there is 7 days. So, you can't, the longer a house stays on the market, the less money you're going to get, the more you're going to work your way back down to that 107. So we want to get it under contract, sold, no contingencies, no home inspection, no appraisal, because that's a very strenuous time for a seller if you have that. So all of the homes you're looking here. Now, the reason why this is important is because when I'm talking to a seller, I want them to understand that this is the protocol, the exact same protocol that's brought in an average of $86,000 in every listing we've done. Let me give you an example. Yesterday, we put a house up. It's been coming soon all week. It was on for $1.25 million. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. I did the proper pricing. I'm telling you it's worth 1.25 all day long. Put it on for 1.25, ain't nobody coming. So we do a predictive analysis. How agents don't do predictive analysis is crazy for me, but you got to do a predictive analysis. So what happens? I said, we got to move this down to 1199. This is happening as we speak right now. 1199. The showings went from 1 to 11. Got 11 people coming. Pat's had 5 phone calls. When are you going to have the date? When are you going to have your, when are contracts due? And what does the seller want? How much rent back? Da, 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 da. So there's all this static going on, all because we dropped the price $50,000. So we're going to talk about this. This is a part of the protocol, part of how this happens. But it happens every week. Last week, Morgan had a house. It was on for $1.2 million. We dropped it to $115. We got $125. Colby had a house on. It was on. We put it on the market coming soon at $145. That didn't test well. We dropped it to $135. Now we got $145. So if you're going to do this, you got to do it right. And part of this is staying with the protocol. So first of all, let's start with the pricing side. Okay? We have pricing models. Now, everybody has a different way of pricing their houses. I'm not saying mine is the best. I'm just saying it works for us. We developed it over the multiple years. And there's usually a range. We all have a range. Like Josue had a house. It's between 900 and 950. Right? Protocol says, okay, we know the house is worth at least 900 and maybe 950. Fine. Let's test it in coming soon. Let's just test it. If you do that, you'll find there's nobody there and you got to drop it to 900. When you drop it to 900, the same thing is happening with all of our houses. Everybody comes in and the lid blows off and the home is bid up to 950 plus. It happens every weekend. I can sit here and just give you just everything on that list did the exact same thing. If you break protocol and you list it for 950, you're going to hear crickets. Now, when you hear crickets, it's just going to start that downward spiral. Everybody's going to think there's something wrong with that house. So that 950 is going to turn into 925, then turn into 900, and then it's going to drift into the 800s. You know how I said it could either sell for 107 or 127, right? The higher you put a house on, the less money you're going to get. That's just the rule. And that's the deal. And the thought that agents are not doing predictive analysis is, in my opinion, malpractice. I think I could price houses better than anybody. Kevin's a lockdown, great pricing guy, but we don't know. We got to put it on. We got to test it. If we don't get it, we got to move. And when we move, we know that's the number. Your seller wants this number. We all know it. You're all realtors, right? You walk into a room, the seller goes, I want 950. I want $1 million. Another realtor told me it's worth $1.1 million. I don't care what other realtors say. Care what we want. We're only got to figure out what is going to get us to that top price as fast as we can, and what is going to have no home inspection, no contingencies, no nothing. So how are we going to do it? Protocol. Let's pick 2 numbers. We're between 1.8 and 1.85. We're between 800 and 850. We're between 500 and 545. Right? Test the top number if you want. Test it. If your home is really in good shape, and let me show you, let me give you a perfect example. Let me give you an example. So what you're looking at is a pricing model that a seller is going to look at. Okay? Same kind of stuff that we do every day when we go out to listing presentations. So that top line is the house. That's a home out on Beulah Road. Okay? So the customary value, and that home may have a badass lot. It may be in really great shape. It may be very nice. It may be updated. It could get great. But the customary value of a house that's that size, that age, and that location, based on the sales that have happened in the last 90 days, is $1.8 million, $1.809 million. That's what it's worth. That's not even the most important number. The most important number is, what did they list? What was the list price of the homes that got that number? $1.77 million. So they didn't put the house on the market for 1.809 to get that number. They put on for 177. So they had the prices lower than the actual sales price. So I'm looking at that 1.77 number going, So now I've framed the $50,000 range, right? It's either 1.8 is what you put it on, or 1.75. 1.75 will make the phone ring, will make everybody jump in, and we locked in and we're ready to go, right? So, do we want to test 1.8? It depends. Does it have a really nice lot? Is it really nice? Is it updated? Is it really, really great? And maybe we test 1.8. Is the market strong enough? How many homes are on the market? Down here you can see 3 are pending, 1 is active. Okay, I think we could test 1.8. Let's test 1.8. Let's give it a shot. Let's give her a go. But if it doesn't produce buyers and it doesn't produce showings, and in that 7 days we can't churn and burn and get everybody coming to that house, we're dropping it to 1.75, and that is the protocol. That is the protocol that 90% of the homes that don't sell in the first weekend fail to achieve. They failed this one protocol. I've got my $50,000 range. Of course the seller wants up here. Of course the competing realtors are all up here. Everybody's up here. Everybody is talking about the bigger number. The higher you price, the lower you're going to get. As a professional, you have to say, let's test it. Let's give her a go. Let's see if we can get 1.8, and you blast the living heck out of it. You don't get it. Now, if you do get it, we're going to launch, right? Hey, I got contracts coming in. I got people begging me, when this contract, I got 12 people coming to see the house on showing time. I've got loves and likes all over the place. Yeah, man, I'm at the right number. 1.8 is the right number based on market conditions. But if it's not, I need to know that I need to get to 1.75. The protocol is under $2 million, it's $50,000. Under 800, it's $25,000. You've got to go down. You don't go down 10. It's 25,000. It's 50,000. And then when you get over 2 million, it's $250,000. The buyer pool is at 2 million, 2.25, and 2.5. Morgan's sitting in the back of the room. I say that house worth $2.5 million. That's what it's worth. I'm just telling you. Could go to 2.6, but I know it's worth 2.5. We listed that house for $2.5 million. Nothing, right? Was it crickets? We had crickets. We got a problem. 2.5 ain't it. So if we leave it at $2.5 million, that home is not going anywhere, right? I got to tell the seller we got to drop $250,000. It's a big drop. Now, I've already kind of prepared them for that during the listing. If this is not it, it's a big fall, but this is what it is. So we bring it down to 2.25 million. That's where we drop it at. That did it. That got everybody coming in. Contract price, $2.5 million. They bid $250,000 over the list price. Because what's it worth? $2.5 million. If I get enough people in there. So my focus is always our team focus is.
Real quick, I just want to make a comment on that. So how you're talking about the different drops and how big they are. So the seller was a little nervous when we were going off at 2.5. She thinks it's a little high, or she just, she wants to make sure we're on the number. We tell her we're going to, test it and see what happens. Then when we tell her we have to drop it a little, she's freaking out because we said 250,000. But if we were to drop to 2.4 or something, we don't know if that's going to get us to 2.5. But we told her the best way to get back to this number is to go to this big buyer pool, and she's freaking out, and we dropped. And
you got to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
What's our motto, Morgan?
The truth will set you free. The
truth will set you free. I'm sorry. Next closest buyer pool, 2.25 million. I'm not, we're not fooling around here. This is where it is. That's where the buyer pool is. If we're going to adjust, we need to adjust to that number. We did $2.5 million. Morgan had another one, 1.85, not testing well. Well, you said, I hate when people say, you said it's worth 1.9. I think it is worth 1.9. I'm digging in on 1.9. But the buyer pool is not 1.9. The buyer pool is not even 1.85. The buyer pool is down at 1.8. We test 1.85. We move to 1.8. What do we get? Yeah, 2 million, not 1.9, 2 million, right? So as Billy would say, stats sell, but stories tell, or stories sell. I'll figure out what Billy says. But I will tell you that if you can give them examples, and we do give them examples of, I know it's a little unnerving to go down $50,000, but when we did this, we went up 200,000, or we went up 100,000, or the average, according to that thing that's sitting in front of their face, is $86,000 above. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. You got to do it the right way. Now, how I can interview agents that walk into my office and not know about predictive analysis is just wrong. Then we're not teaching Samson Properties agents correctly. You must do a predictive analysis. I price better than anybody, but I will tell you that without it, we're done. We will fail. All this marketing stuff I'm going to talk about, all the protocols I'm going to talk about, all the contract protocols, this is all bunk if you don't start off with a proper protocol. If your protocol is, I'm not interested in what other agents say, and I don't want to know what the seller wants. I don't want to know, because that will influence what I'm saying, right? I don't want to know. I'm going to tell you what it's worth. I'm going to tell you the range, and we're going to prove it, so you need to prove it. I'm going to prove the range, and then we're going to come up with a strategy where we'll start above it and we'll go below it if we have to. That's the strategy. That's the protocol, and it's not negotiable. So, as we've seen, I go into a house. I say it's between 1.4 and 1.45. I think 1.4 solid, 1.45. The seller goes, I wouldn't take a nickel under $2 million. Close my computer. I go to the Vienna Inn, and I have a few pops. Couldn't care less. Got plenty of listings. Not going to take it. Best listing you're ever going to take is the one that you don't take, right? So the house goes on the market. A Samson agent puts it on the market at 1.8. It sits for a year. It goes through 4 realtors, and they end up getting 1.375. A year and a half later. What the hell? Why go through that hell, right? Don't ride the roller coaster. There's plenty of good sellers out there. If you prove, let's take this house right here. And Morgan was in the listing presentation with me yesterday. It's 1.8 to 1.75. We'll try 1.8. If we don't get it, we go to 1.75. Does that meet your expectations? Yes. Let's rock. Now let's go on with the rest of this. Now let's talk about the rest of this. Because unless we're locked in on the pricing, we are spinning our wheels. We are just spinning our wheels. So let's just lock this down. So when they're comfortable with that, now we can move forward onto the other protocols. You can't fail on the other protocols either. We got to stay with these, right? So let's go to the next. All right, home prep. I'm bringing up Morgan because she's here, but we go into a house. It's a big house. It's a really nice house. It's really big, and it's really like yellow, right? It's just a tinge of yellow, and I'm like, oh, I know she's going to say it. I know she's going to say it, and it's too big of a house. I'm looking at ceilings going up 20 feet. I'm like, Jesus, don't say it, Morgan. The seller doesn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But the protocol is that's a yellow house or a tinge of a yellow house. You got to paint that damn house. So me, I'm like, God, I hope she doesn't say anything. And she goes, oh, we're definitely painting this house. And I said, and the seller went, what? I just painted it. She goes, you painted it the wrong color. So she looked up, she takes a picture of it on her phone. She's looking at us going, watch this. She takes a picture, she goes, how's that look to you guys? And we both went, yeah, we got to paint this house. $8,500 in paint. We got another $100,000 on the bottom line. We do it all, that happens all the time. So the bottom line is, if a house needs paint, hardware, and lighting fixtures to bring it current, you got to do it. It's just not a question. I know they don't want to do it. And I tell the seller, dude, you don't want to do it? I don't want to do it. I just soon get this on the market tomorrow. I don't want to do it. But I got somebody sitting next to me, Kelly, Morgan, Billy, Colby. They're not going to put up with that. They're like, no, we're going to fix this house up. It looks dated. See, they're the buyers. They're the 30-somethings. They're the ones looking at it as the buyers are looking at it, not the 66-year-old guy that's too tired to paint the damn house. And we're not going to paint it ourselves. I mean, we got a guy. So the protocol is, if you don't have current paint on the walls, put it on there. And if you don't have current hardware, put it on there. And if you don't have current lighting fixtures in the family room and the dining room, put it in there. Now, we go in, and I've got 60-something, 70-somethings, 80-something clients. They don't want to do it. They're going, that looks terrible. Makes money. It's part of the protocol. It makes money. The reason we get 86,000 over list price is because the houses all look like they're current. And a current house goes closer to the 127, not the 107. And we know that. And I mean, they are bitching and complaining all the way to settlement until they get 150,000 more than we thought we were going to get. We're just trying to get 900. We got $1 million. Just trying, please, Lord, can we get 900,000? And we get $1 million.
It's funny because every single time they do bitch about it and they don't want to do it. And then when it's done, they're like, it looks incredible. Wow, why didn't I do this earlier? I mean, every single time like clockwork.
So let me go forward on this. Protocol. Don't break protocol. Rule number 1. Morgan steps up and says, we're going to paint this house. She puts $8,500 in paint in that house. It looks great. It sells immediately. They refer their neighbor on Lupine Den to us. That neighbor, Morgan does it, gets us another. We have 4 listings on Lupine Den. 4. And they average 1.8, 1.75, 1.8, 1 blah, blah, blah. 4 of them, because the seller is going, guys, you got to work with this agent. I know they told me to do it, but we did it, and da-da-da-da-da. So Morgan doesn't do it. The house sits on the market. It goes a little bit longer. If she doesn't put her foot down, if she doesn't follow protocol, that's what's going to happen. You cannot, as a realtor, as a professional, you cannot deviate from what the protocol is. It's just been proven to be right time after time after time. The hardware in the doors, if you walk in, is brass doorknobs in a house, is that current or is that old? That's just old. That tells people you got an old house on your hands. Well, for $2,500, it flips out to black hardware or oil rub bronze or whatever it is. And just like that, the house looks like it's 20 years newer. The lighting fixtures, the old lighting fixtures, are replaced with new, cool globes or cages or something like that, where people that are online looking at the house are going, wow, that really looks great. Holy cow, look at how bright that house looks, right? So time and time and time again, it's the home prep. And again, doesn't matter how much we prep the house, if it's not priced right, nobody's coming. So don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything. So if a seller is in a position, and sometimes they are, where I can't afford it, you got to listen. Is the reason they don't want to do it is because they don't have $10,000? Maybe their business isn't doing well. Maybe, they lost some money at this or lost some money at that. Not everybody's got $10,000 sitting around a bank account they can throw into a house. That's fine. We'll carry that. Don't let that be the cause of us not doing it, because we have a chart that shows if you invest 1% on the house, you're going to get 10% back. And it's because of that $70 million, that $75 million. That's just this year. That's just since January 1. So I mean, last year there's $100 million. The year before that there's $150 million. So there's plenty of examples. We've got to do it. Put in a point, get back 10 points. Now, how many realtors in their protocol go, it looks fine? It looks fine. You just got to stick with your protocol, right? And to be honest with you, old dog, new tricks, right? When Morgan came in, I don't know how to tell people your house looks like really dated and really old and really all this. Morgan came in with a sense that that's a traditional look, but the new buyers want transitional. Donnie uses it. Donnie Samson uses it. I didn't come up with that. She came up with that. This is a traditional look. Buyers want transitional. We need to switch it out. Get rid of those rugs. Get rid of the old furniture. We'll kind of make it look a little bit more transitional. Paint, carpet, paint, hardware, lighting fixtures, make it look a little more transitional. This is a protocol that you cannot avoid. Just can't do it. Home inspection. Home inspection is a part of the protocol, not an option. It's a part of the protocol. Got to do a home inspection. Yeah, it costs $5,000 or $500. It costs $500. But in 2022, in June of 2022, the music stopped and the buyers stopped. All the 10 contracts coming in, bidding a house, no home inspections. That all stopped. The buyers got control of the market in June of 2022. Everybody wanted a home inspection. 4 home inspections later, we had lost 2 contracts because of the home inspection. 1 home inspection cost us $50,000, and 1 we slid through with about $10,000. I'm like, we're not doing that anymore. There's going to be no more home inspections. So we get together with a guy named Bob Lamb. Anybody not using Bob Lamb is making a huge mistake. You home inspect every house. Send me an email. I'll give you Bob Lamb's contact information. Perfect. Gives a 100-page report. You bring in a contract, your contract is going to say we want a home inspection. I'm going to send you our home inspection report back. You're going to remove that from your contract. It happens every time. I don't think we've done a home inspection this year, have we? Or I don't think we have. So part of the protocol is we need to remove the one most stressful deal, the most stressful situation a seller can ever get in, and that is somebody attacking his house from a home inspection. They could kick it out because it's contingent, right? For whatever reason, they can walk away on a home inspection, and sometimes they do. They may just, somebody decide, I think we paid too much for that house. Let's get the hell out of here. I don't want any home inspection. I don't want any appraisal contingency. I don't want any of that stuff. So home inspection is a part of the protocol. It's the final part of the protocol. If you miss that step, if you miss that protocol, you're going to fail. Or chances are you're going to fail. So you must do the home inspection. Now, as a seller's walking through, at this point, once you've done the pricing and you've shown them you know what you're talking about as a listing agent and a pricing agent, now they've stopped telling you what we're going to do, and they've started asking you. And as soon as we start asking, then we know that they trust what we're doing, they trust what we're saying, and they'll follow exactly what we're saying. Because what we're saying, for that seller to go from 2.5 to 2.25, can you imagine telling a seller you got to drop your price $250,000? That's really hard. But that was the right thing to do. That was just the right thing to do. So we got to do what's right. And even though it's uncomfortable to tell people that, it's not comfortable for me every Wednesday morning to get on Zoom and tell a seller, it's not cutting it. We got to drop the price. We just got to drop the price. And they're disappointed and I'm disappointed and it's not easy, but we got to do it. The truth will set us free. And the truth is our protocol says, if you're not getting the traffic, you got to move down. Nobody said being a realtor was easy. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's like Tom Hanks said, right? Isn't that what Tom Hanks said in League of Their Own? If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's got to be hard, right? So let's move on to the home prep. That is not negotiable. You got to do it. The marketing is also a little more sophisticated, but we target, our protocol is, if somebody's in Vienna, that house is worth $1.4 million. The same house in McLean is worth $1.75 million. That's the spread between Vienna and McLean. So if I'm going to market this house, people in Vienna already know about it. Looking in Vienna already know about it. I'm going after the people in McLean. Because if they come in and see this house and like it, they've been looking at the same house at 1.75. They're going to go, I'll give you 1.6, save $150,000. Well, it's only in the market for 1.4. So part of the reason why people bid so much is because they're used to seeing bigger priced houses. Arlington, you come to Vienna, that house in Arlington is $250,000 more. In McLean, it's $400,000 more. So when I tell a seller at a listing appointment, your buyers aren't looking in Vienna right now. There are buyers in Vienna, but they're not going to pay as much money as a buyer coming from DC or Alexandria or Arlington or McLean. Because they see this house, they don't see 1.4 million. They see 1.6. So when the bidding war starts, watch out, right? So targeting the buyers from out of town, it's just not a question. Other thing on marketing, preparing the home too, pictures, non-negotiable. You've got to have great pictures. If you don't have great pictures, if you're not on, you don't go to a photographer who's a professional photographer and go, you shoot the house, send us the pictures and everything's fine. Not good enough. See that window in the top left corner right there? See those windows outside? When a person looks at your listing online, they're coming from out of town. You've got to, whether they're coming from California or Arlington, it doesn't matter. They've got to be able to look through that window and see what's in the backyard. Those windows are so, those pictures are so clear, you could tell it's a river birch back there. You could tell whether it's a cryptomeria or what kind of trees there are. That's how good those pictures have to be. That's not negotiable. It's a part of the protocol. You've got to have the best pictures going. You have to do a website. You have to do your own custom website for that house. That's a part of the protocol. So if we don't get good pictures, they're not coming. If we don't market to McLean people and Arlington people, then you just wiped out most of your most expensive market, right? That if you break protocol on any of that marketing stuff, you're just not going to get it. It's got to be in there for at least five days. And when I say 5 day soak, I mean, everybody's watched Deadly Catch. They throw the pots out there. They let them soak for 10, 12, 18 hours, pull them up full of crabs. It's got to soak. You can't just dip it in the water and say, well, nobody's there. No, it's got to soak. Got to let them soak. How many buyers is this catching? There's only 2 crabs in the pot. We're in the wrong place. We need a fish over there. I know the fish are over there. So it needs a 5 day soak. People can't call me in 2 days, go, how are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? It's like, you got to give it time. You know, people are on there, they're looking, they're sniffing, we're matriculating here, right? We got to get people coming in. So just relax. Everybody just stay calm. Then Wednesday comes. Nobody's coming or whatever it is. That's when we decide and do our predictive analysis. Open houses. Again, not negotiable, right? An open house gives you an opportunity to meet the buyers because guess what? They're definitely coming and their agent is coming. And it's very important that we see them and talk to them, get their feedback, and know the wife loves it, the husband does not. That's not the contract we want. The wife is an engineer and she's picking it apart. If there's 4, you're pretty much going to be on the bottom. You get a feel for who the buyers are that are walking in because we're not dating. Once you go under contract, we're getting married. So I need to know who you are and we need to get a feel for them. You both love it. And again, this is important. And Steve and I work on this every day, don't we, Steve? Not talking, listening. We ask probing questions. Put any other contracts? Be quiet. They'll start talking and tell you, well, we put in 4 contracts. We keep getting outbid, and we that's you're the people I'm looking for, right? You got outbid. They've learned their lesson. You're my people. We've got to have this house. The kids are in this school. I don't want to have any other school. In other words, they're almost telling you that they're in a box that they have to have this house, right? So we're talking to agents. We're talking to the buyers. We're talking to the buyers' lenders. We're trying to get the information, but that open house is critical because that's what opens it up that we get to meet the buyers and decide we definitely don't want you. And I can tell you we absolutely 100% will say that. We'll have a kind of a red flag up there going, you better watch out. This is going to be a toughie, or this one's going to be an easy group, right? They love it. The kids love it. The kids have picked out their bedrooms. It's in the right school. They've been looking for a year. They're not guessing. They know it. They're coming from McLean. We got them. This is our group, right? So let's say we start getting to this level and we're in a contract, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and we get to this level, then I've got 2 competing contracts, all maybe $20,000 apart. But the best group is in number 2 position. We'll go right to them and go, hey, man, you bump it 20 grand, we'd like to work with you and your clients. But if we do that, I don't want to hear a peep. Clear? I don't want to hear a peep about, well, how about this? We're going to elevate it. We're going to give it to you, and then we'll see you at settlement, okay? And I tell you one thing, the agents, the good agents, if you pick the right agent, you pick the right buyers, won't give you a peep. We'll see you at settlement table. That's it. There won't be one peep. The appraiser could come in $100,000 low. You won't hear a thing. Doesn't matter, right? So the open house will allow you to select the right people and open you up to that group. So, you know, we try and get emails for people, but to be honest with you, I don't want to chase people around. You love the house, you love the house. You don't love the house, I'm not going to chase you around. Now, again, the coaches are telling you, I need an email from everybody. I'm going to track you down. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you an email. I'm going to give you a drip campaign. I'm going to do all this marketing to you. That's not the most important thing. What we're trying to do is find out who's the best buyer for this house. Let's sell it to them. And then let's tell all the neighbors that we just sold the house at $200,000 over list price. Now get your listings. Now we're in the neighborhood. One way to do it that we're talking about, one way to get the email addresses for the people, you can have a $50 gift card. You can say, put your name and your email address in there, and they become a part of your newsletter, and they'll always hear things and what's going on and what's new. But, you know, to me, the most important thing about open houses is meeting potential buyers and their agents. That's, to me, the best thing about that. All right, contracts. In this protocol, this is a hard one. This is a very difficult one. But should you fail on this, you got a real problem, right? Okay. Here's where the money meets, here's where the rubber meets the road. Contract comes in. Does the buyer agent want to do an escalation clause or highest and best offers? They want escalation every time. They're going to come in with an escalation clause. And you got to dig in and you got to say, there are no escalation clauses, only highest and best offers. Only highest and best offer. Now, it's not easy. They want it. It's to their advantage to do escalation. Well, I'm just going to leave an escalation clause in. Well, here's what's going to happen. I'll tell them right to their face. Here's exactly what's going to happen. Contract one is going to be here. Your escalation could go right to here. I'm going to go right to this contract and say, hey, will you match them? Yes. Okay, we'll take your contract. If you can't follow instructions on a contract, then what makes me think you're going to follow instructions is, remember, we're getting married, right? What makes you think I want to get married to a person that's not going to listen to the instructions, right? I'm going with this contract. And I'll just say, hey, give me $2,000 extra, match that contract, and away we go. And we'll go. I was going to get 1.802. Why wouldn't I just take it from him instead of him? Because this contract is violating what we asked for. And we'll tell it to their face. Now, what does that do? That says, okay, we can't use escalation clause. Let's go ahead and make our highest best offer. 195. Not 1.8 plus 2,000 over the next highest offer. 195. See, that's the deal. You can't break that protocol. You can't break the highest and best offer protocol. We had a house at $1.4 million. They brought it in, 1.4 with a $5,000 escalation clause. Talk to the agent, talk to the thing, find out. They have lost 5 contracts. I'm sorry, we need your highest and best offer. That's just our protocol. I can't change that. It's our protocol. Okay. We'll go 1.55 million, no home inspection, no appraisal contingency. They were the only buyer we had. They upped their contract $150,000 because the highest and best offer. That's the difference. Our job is to get the 1.55, not the 1.4. And the difference in not breaking protocol, had I broke protocol because the agent is swearing at me that we're just sending it, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I need your highest and best offer. It's not easy. It's hard. But if you establish yourself as a highest and best agent and you're in your territory and your area, and Morgan will tell you that an agent will go, I know, highest and best offers, I get it. I mean, we'll do, I don't know, $40-50 million in Vienna. So they know, they get it. You know, that's just the way it is. So they know that they have to do highest and best, but the sellers also know that we're going to do highest and best, and we're pulling in $100,000 more than they thought Mary and Jim could get for their house. And it's highest and best offers. So I'm not saying this protocol is easy. It is hard. But if you're a professional and you've gained the trust then you need to implement it's not easy for a seller to paint that house. Put up 8,500. I'm telling you, it's a big house. Wasn't it, Morgan? That was 6,600 square feet above grade. 6,600 with 20-foot high ceilings. I'm like, holy shit. We got to
Not
paint
to
this
mention
damn thing?
they had painted it a year and a half ago. And
Yeah.
repainted the whole thing.
But they painted the wrong color. So, anyways, I would just say that, and I've gone to Donnie, and I've said that, we have coaches and everybody's getting training, and it's training on how to get clients and how to get more listing appointments and how to do this and how to do that and how to that. We need, as Samson Properties agents, need to understand there's protocols in place, and if you violate any of the protocols, you're going to fail. And maybe not fail, but you're not going to get the 127. You're going to get the 107. It's going to take you 30 days. Is the seller happy? Nope. They're not happy. And to interview agents that come in and say, did you do a predictive analysis on this? And look at me and go, what's a predictive analysis? I can't function. I'd like to, well, whatever. I'd like to put up the chart. And I just ran the last quarter because we had a pretty good quarter. We did like $45 million in the quarter. So I just wanted to see what the other teams were doing, just to see, are we having a good quarter? Is everybody having a good quarter? What is it? It's 45 when you include Johnny and Ferris. And the next closest was 10. And then Natalie had 10. Carolyn had 10. And then it was a bunch of 7s and 8s. The protocols work. That's what you have to do. The protocols work. From the 45 million a quarter team telling you need to do the protocol. Make sure you have a price range when you walk in. You are not asking for their opinion. You're doing it. You know what the price is. You come in with your range. You can validate the range. Don't look at the customary price. Look at what they were asking when they got the customary price. Let me just give you one example. We had a house on for $1.2 million. I thought it was worth 1.21. I put it on at 1.2 because the buyer pool under 2 million is this big, over 2 million is this big. So I said, we're staying under $2 million. We got 2.28 million for it. 280,000 over list price. Lillian calls me up and goes, what'd you get for that house? I said, 2.28. Love to tell her. 2.28. Because I knew she was going to put it on for 2.2 or 2.25. She put her house on for 2.2. Sat in her own neighborhood. Sat, withdrawn. 2.2. It's not where you ended up. It's where you started. And if you don't get that concept, right, then it's a problem. So where did it start? Where were they asking when they got that big number? That's where the buyer pool is. It's not the value. It's not where you think it's going to sell for. And I'm going to tell them that. I think it's going to sell for 1.9 million. But that may not be where the buyer pool is. Let's try 185. It's not there. Let's go to 1.8. Got it. Okay, we'll get $2 million. If you follow the protocols, and just don't come in here and listen, okay, thanks. If you follow protocols, if you know protocol, if you listen to it and get it and understand it and work with your sellers through the protocols, you will sell all your houses. They'll sell in the first 7 days. They'll sell it $80,000 higher than everybody. You tell all the neighbors about it. The neighbors are excited. They think you're a good agent. They're going to hire you because you're a great listing agent, not because you got their name on the internet and Zillow, you bought names, you bought leads, and all the rest of that bullshit. You get business because, and again, I'm going to authenticate it by the number of listings that came through in the quarter. The best way to get business is be a great listing agent with great protocols. Sell what you have, sell it fast, sell it at high numbers, and then tell everybody about it. And that's the way you go. My name is Casey Samson. You've been watching Coffee with Casey. Today we've been talking about the protocols that are really, to be honest with you, not negotiable. Really, you have to have all your protocols in place if you want to get the highest number for the listings and you want to have the less stress on your sellers. You can reach me at casey@caseysamson.com or 703-508-2535. We'll see you again next week on Coffee with Casey. Bye now.